Hey there, everyone. This is Daryl Andrews, Coach D, coming to you with another virtual motivator message. One that I think is so appropriate for the times that we live in. Um, some people use, from what I see, LinkedIn Live as a sales tool. I choose to use it as an information tool. Now, if it leads to sales, I'll take it. But I like to share information that could be helpful that leads people to make choices and decisions that help them to produce new outcomes for their businesses, for their lives, for their careers, for their organizations, for their agencies, for their families, depending on how you look at it. But anyway, I want to talk to you about something that I learned a long time ago, and I think I shared this before on these platforms. Again, I stream this to multiple platforms. But years ago, I was going to a school by the name of Wagner College in Staten Island, New York. I was a football player. And I was on my way to school. I was going to play college football, and 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 first generation college student across the board. So it was an exciting time. So on my plane trip from Syracuse, New York to New York City, I met this man. He looked just like the rapper D from the rap group Run DMC. I mean, literally almost twins. And so I was sitting next to him. He was in the middle seat, and his wife was on the in a window seat, and his mother-in-law was up in front. So I'm sitting there, and I'm a young guy, 17 years old, ready to take on life, ready to go out and make some things happen, ready to take on the world. So I'm on this plane trip, and the guy starts to talk to me with his, Kango hat and t-shirt on, chain, and looked just like D from Run DMC. I thought he was with the rap group Run DMC. And so we're talking and we're chatting. And as a young boy, I'm thinking, really, I don't know if I want to talk to this guy. I'm just trying to get down here and go to school. Because, young kids, sometimes you just think that way. So as we were talking, I kind of started to enjoy the conversation. And he said to me, young man, he said, where are you going when you leave here? And I said, well, I got to go to the Port Authority and down to the ferry in Manhattan and to take the ferry over to Wagner, Staten Island, and to take, get a ride from the ferry, from Staten Island up to Wagner College. And so you know, got real respectful guy, respectful family and everything. And he said he was a first generation college graduate and, just nice guy. And he said, so, well, Daryl, let me ask you this. He said, when the plane lands, he said, would you like a ride to the Port Authority? Because we got to go right past that, to get to where we're going. And so I said, man, I don't want to inconvenience you and your family. And I really didn't know him that well, but he was a really nice guy. But he just said, no, man, seriously, we would love to take you, love to drop you off there. And so I said, sure, why not? Back then it was a little different than it is now. Folks are all nervous and scared of strangers. Back then, folks just were a little bit more liberal with that. So plane lands, we go down the baggage claim, and I go to grab my baggage and my luggage, and he looks at me and said, what are you doing, D? Daryl? I said, his name was Mr. Murphy. I said, Mr. Murphy, I want to grab my luggage. He said, you don't have to do that. And he snaps his finger. And I'm looking at him like, what's wrong with his hand? And all of a sudden, this big tall guy comes over. He grabs my luggage. And I'm looking at this man saying, who is this guy and where's he going with my luggage? And so we go out the door, and it was this big, long, stretch Cadillac limousine out there. And I looked at the man and I said, Mr. Murphy, when you said you had room, you wasn't kidding. And so we go into his limousine. I'm tripping over this. I'm flipping. I'm a 17-year-old kid. I ain't never seen a limousine in my entire life. From Syracuse, New York. Nobody from Syracuse is riding around limousines where I grew up. And so we get in the car, and I said, Mr. Murphy, who in the world are you? And he shared a story with me that changed my life forever that leads into the title of what I have for you here today. He said, Daryl, you know what? I'm going to tell you something. He said, at the age of 14, he said, I was living in New York City. He said, I was hanging around with everything that was wrong at that time, all the wrongness and that, all the wrong. And so he said, I made some bad choices. And he said, but one day I was looking on television and I saw this show. I was kicked out of school. I was dropped out and everything. And I saw this school that talked, this commercial that was talking about living the American dream. And he said, man, why can't I live the American dream? I'm smart enough. I can do it. So make a long story short, he cleaned his act up, got himself together, went back to school, graduated from high school with honors, Ended up going to Yale University, graduating from Yale with honors, and ended up opening his own accounting firm. And then he ended up he worked for an accounting firm, and then Big Five accounting firm, and then went and opened his own accounting firm. One of the few African Americans at the time in New York City that owned one. And he looked me in the eye as he was sharing this story with me. And he said, you know, Daryl, when I went to college and when I changed my scope of life, I changed my friendships. He said, when I was getting into trouble making bad choices, I was wrong the wrong folks. But then I got around some friends. He said, not that I didn't know those people anymore, I just stopped hanging with them. And so he said this. He said, Daryl, I'm going to tell you something. You'll never see me again. And I haven't. He said, chances are we'll never talk again. And we have not. He said, but young man, as you get ready to exit this car and go into your venture in life, I want to give you a little something to remember forever. He said, Daryl, if you show me your friends, I will show you your future. And he paused. He said, man, it's been such a pleasure meeting you. I'm glad we were able to give you this ride. And I sat there and I looked at them and I'm like, that thing just went inside of me. Show me your friends and I will show you your future. Let me type that in there because I want you to get this. Show me your friends and I will show you your future. I never, ever forgot that. That was decades ago. Decades ago. And what I learned from that man, who I have not seen since that time, is that one of the most important impacts, influences on a person's life is the people they choose to associate with. And this is what I've learned. You got a couple kinds of people. You got people that realistically that's going to take you up. These are the individuals that are going to support you, that's going to encourage you. They're going to get on you when you do something wrong, get on you in a positive way. Come on, you can do better than that. You know, and they're going to have your back no matter what. They're just going to be there to support you and inspire you no matter what. Because why? They care about you. They see the potential. Here's another thing. They're not envious of your success. If you're successful, they're not envious of it. They're happy for you. You know what I mean? And they don't see it as like you have an obligation to them. No, they're just happy for you. And chances are a lot of times they're going to be people that's on their own mission anyway. All right. So these are the kind of people that you run life with, man. And all y'all doing is inspiring each other and encouraging each other and pushing towards greatness and trying to be the best that you can be. When you fail, they lift you up. When they fail, you lift them up. That's a good friendship. The other side, you got to be careful about. These are the people that no matter what you do, they can't find good in you. They're just going to find something wrong with you, even though may not even be doing anything wrong. You know, if you have a little bit of success, they're going to be envious of you. These are the people that want to keep you where you were years ago. Like if you were in a certain environment and you were a certain way then, and you go off and you get an education, you try to do it and you change, and all of a sudden he changed or she changed. Yeah, they changed. They went off and got an education. They changed their life. They changed their mindset. They changed their ways. And now they're not the same person anymore. Now, that person may want to remain the same, but some people mature and grow up and they go different pathways. And you start to realize people like that, it goes back to that old saying, are crabs in the barrel. They're crabs in the barrel. They literally want to hold on to you as you're trying to move on. And I found in my work that I do that most of the people, all right, who try to do anything of significance that struggle, that's their stumbling block. They're still trying to make connections with people who are trying to pull them down. Let me say this to you. When you're trying to progress in your career, when you're trying to progress in your life, you can't be around crabs in the barrel. You can't be around folks that can't see your potential. You need to be around people that's going to push you forward. That's going to give you, they're going to give you their best. You're going to give them yours. Because life is just too short, way too short, for you to spend your life trying to please people that are unpleasable. And I'm saying that to a message to you, but I've also had to say it to myself. You know what I mean? There's people out there, man, I never thought that these relationships would be like this. But when you think about it years later, they really never were always like this anyway. And so you can't, they were saying you can't fit a round shape into a square peg. It really isn't. So when you're thinking about achievement of certain goals, you need to have people around you, what many times we call dream teams of people who are just two or three or four or five people. It don't have to be a lot, that literally are there for your best interest, that are there to see you excel and achieve. Mentors are like that. Sometimes, I'll be honest with you, sometimes you find that the ones that are most supportive are the ones that are not as close to you, the ones that the friendships and relationships you build as you're on the journey. Not to say that the folks who were there before aren't, because like in my life, I have a lot of people I grew up with, and even some of my family members, they're very supportive. But then you have a lot of people that again still want to keep you where you were years ago, and they can't see you for who you are today. And so those are toxic relationships. These are people who just, they want to keep spewing vitriol and things like that, make you seem like you're something that you're not. And I'm going to tell you something. If you put too much energy into that, it will drain you. It will drain you. And so what you need to do is focus your energy on the task and the relationships that are going to bring life to your situation. And I'm saying this, and somebody out there hearing me. I know somebody's hearing me with this, because some of us would, especially those of us who have, hey, Kathy, how you doing? Those of us who have those caring personalities, we got to be extremely careful, because when you have those kind of personalities where you care about people and you care about, I'm telling you, you can get dragged through the mud with this stuff. So you got to be protective. And if you're taking notes, write this down: protective of your purpose. You've got to be protective of it. You know what I mean? You've got to be careful of allowing anybody or anyone to put things in your head, or to try to keep you locked in to a mold in which they think you should be when you're trying to pursue purpose. Because it takes energy, it takes vitality, it takes strategy, it takes time and energy. And when you're pouring all of that out, you need someone that you're pouring out to, but they're pouring back into you. Those are the kind of friendships that lift you up and encourage you. So this is just a little quick thing on show me your friends and I'll show you your future. I can't even tell you the number of people I've met over my lifetime that had tremendous potential, tremendous, but never achieved anything because of who they hang around. I mean, if you want to, that old saying, if you want to fly with eagles, you got to be with some eagles, man. You got to find some people that are progressive in their thinking, some people who understand things you don't. I always tell people this: my goal in life every year is to be a little fish in a big pond, a little fish in a pond with bigger fish. I want to be able to learn and grow, which means I need to be able to sit down and learn and be stretched and things like that. And for a lot of my life, I was the big fish in a sort of a small pond where, people look at what I've done and what I've tried to accomplish. And, instead of being supportive, it was envious and, talk about you and things like that. And you start realizing, man, that's not who you, that's not what you want. You want people that's going to stretch you, to cause you to maximize your potential, who can say things to you in love that's going to make you a better person. It's called mentorship. You know what I mean? It's called mentorship. I remember the few conversations I had one-on-one, which I didn't have many, with Dr. Miles Monroe. I mean, most of the time I was talking, he was just doing more listening, and then he would course correct a lot of the things I was saying, because here I am thinking I'm all that in sliced bread, and he looked at me like, boy, you ain't even on the radar screen yet. You talking like you big stuff, and you ain't big nothing right now. And I love that humility. It made me just think, and like, okay, here's a man that's written like 80 books and has 3,000 different videos out here and has traveled all over the world, and helping me to understand how I can become better. And there's other people I've interacted with, you know what I mean? And just phenomenal people. And also, one thing I'll say about this as well, when you're interacting with mentors, shut up. Let the mentors give the advice. You know what I mean? I haven't had many interactions with Les. He does these LinkedIn lives too. But we had 2 phone conversations, and I kept my mouth shut for the entire hour we were on. And I'm glad I did both times, because the wisdom that man gave me 20 something years ago helped shape where I am today. He talked about speaking at conferences and all that. I didn't even know about that stuff. So Les, if you're ever watching these videos, thank you, man, because you helped me become the man I am. But I was willing to be quiet and listen. and hear what this one of the greatest speakers that ever lived had to say. And I learned from it. You see, that's what I mean by having great people in your life, man. Folks who can help bring you to a certain level. There was a speaker by the name of Keith Harrell. Unfortunately, we lost Keith at a very early age. He wrote a book entitled Attitude is Everything. It was a bestseller for many years. And unfortunately, he succumbed to cancer at 55 years old, 54 years old. Good guy, and it's sad that it happened. But we used to have mentoring sessions. And man, we would be on the phone and he just would be sharing things with me and I'm learning and taking notes. You see, this is one thing I've learned. People who have achieved certain things you want to achieve will give you the time of day if you're not going to them begging. You don't go to them, ask them for anything except advice. That's all you want. You don't ask them to do anything. They don't open up their networks to you. That's what LinkedIn, like one of my challenges with LinkedIn now, everybody wants you to just give them stuff. You don't earn the right to have a relationship at all. You know, you befriend a person and 2 minutes later you send them a message talking about what you're selling. That is so unprofessional. Build a relationship with the person first. You know, to me, that seems more like desperation. You don't even know me and 2 seconds later you selling me something. No, you build a relationship. LinkedIn is about networking. You know what I mean? Not net selling. I mean, you just throw stuff at people all the time and maybe there'll be some sales, but give them some wisdom and content. So anyway, I could digressing too much, but the reality here is, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. Show me the people you hang around. One of the joys of my life was being a member of the National Speakers Association because I got to hang around some of the best speakers in the world. And now the joys I have is some of the associates I have, and you know, the different thought leaders I interact with in industry and out of industry, the people that are just running organizations, running agencies, and I'm around people that are lifting, you know, we're lifting each other up. And one person I want to mention in particular, I just formed a collaborative with a good friend of mine named Jay McGowan. They call him Jay the Entertrainer McGowan. And Jay made songs that y'all know, like Hoot, There It Is, Come On Ride the Train. Jay made all those songs. But today, Jay is a rebranding expert. And matter of fact, he and I were just on the call earlier today. We're about to release a podcast. I'll let you know more about that soon. You know, we're creating all this beautiful content to help people transform themselves and rebrand themselves. But what I love about it is, man, we are pushing each other. He's achieved a significant amount in his career. 25 million albums, has traveled all over the world doing his music, now speaking and training, had a successful corporate career. I've traveled, been on thousands of stages, coached and trained all these people, but we're coming together. Show me your friends, and I will show you your future. So more to come with me and Jay. We got something we're doing called the Transformation Project. Trust me, you'll be hearing about that very soon. But the reality of the matter is this. The reality of the matter is, if you're going to run with people that want to run with you. You don't want to run with someone that you're dragging. You don't want to have to drag people. You want people that's pushing you and you're pushing them. And those are the kind of people that, as you're doing life and trying to maximize your potential, are the kind of people that's going to help you be the better person that you could possibly be. Because here's the thing, you know, we don't have forever. I'm not as young as I used to be. I'm just as healthy as I used to be because I run and weight lift every day. You know what I mean? But the reality is I'm not. And so for me, time means everything. And I don't have time to waste. And you don't have time to waste. So, you know, some folks, you just got to pray for them and let them go and live your life. But those who you're going to run with. And now there's some people they're going to be in your life. You ain't got no choice. They're there and ain't no way you can do about them. You know, it could be friends or family. You learn to tolerate, you deal with them, but you don't run with them. You need to run with folks that's running with you. And that way, what happens in your life, you see yourself achieving outcomes that most only dream of. So show me your friends, I'll show you your future. And doing that, you'll see some amazing things happen in your life. 3 or 4 people. You don't need a big circle. I got about 3 or 4 or 5 in my life. That's it. And I just was on one earlier today, my dear friend Rachel Revel, who's a expert in time management and efficiency. And man, I'm telling you, every time we get together, it's fire. I mean, we're just encouraging and inspiring. And, you know, she helps me overcome some of the stuff I'm dealing with internally, and I help her. And but that's we just run it. She's part of my dream team, and we're just making things happen. She's the most amazing efficiency expert I've seen out here. She knows her stuff. All right. And here's the reality of it all. You know, here's the reality, y'all. That's the kind of people you want to run with. So that's all I got for you. Just want to drop a nugget. Don't have anything beyond this, but hopefully this information is helpful. Think about who you hang around if you're trying to achieve your goals and objectives in life. Take care.